How's it going? Welcome back to Facetime. My name's John Ryan. I'm your host. So today's gonna be a little bit different. I have a few things that I've been doing in my personal life that doesn't make it possible for me to have done an episode this week with the guests that I think that you guys would have wanted, that I would have wanted, and I want to always give you the best, right? So what I will do is tell you that I've had a dating coach on this podcast. Her name's Cora Boyd. She's fucking fantastic. She's awesome. And so I talked to her a lot about dating because I'm single and I'm out here and I'm not like trying to go be like, hey, what's up, bitches? What I'm trying to do is to set up the whole story right now. So what I'm going to do is give you a story about the time that I dated somebody out here. I went on a couple dates and I had to call the cops on her. But I thought that maybe wouldn't be enough. So I wanted to record this, and I have some friends in town, so I figured this would be the first time that I have humans on the podcast that I can tell the story to, so that maybe if you have questions that are parallel with the mind that's listening to the story live, they'll be able to ask me and we can riff on it. So welcome, my friends. This is Ben and this is Jose, and these have been my friends for many years. How's it going, guys? You got to share a mic, by the way.
It's going very good.
It's fine.
Right.
A lot of years, like 10, 15, maybe almost 20, actually.
20. Well, I've known you since I was probably like 16, Jose.
Yeah, so almost 20.
Yeah. And then I've known you since I was like maybe 17.
And he's been the same height since I know
No,
him.
man. Here's the thing: is Jose? Me and Jose are the same height, but Jose will do things like wear big boots, like he's like basically wearing high heels, and I don't. I wear fucking. I keep it fucking real.
He's 100.
No, okay. Bad start, by the way. Making me short. I'm not short, dude. I'm regular.
But a serious question. Do you lie about your height on your dating profile?
No, I just don't put my height. What does my height matter?
Well, I'm proud of how tall I am.
But another real question is, our booth shorter than the booth that you're on that end?
No, it's the same size booth.
Okay.
Just making sure. I'm not.
By the way, I can't believe you brought pizza. Were you gonna eat pizza on the podcast?
Yeah, so this is like probably one of the best New York pizzas in town. We got like the best recommendation from this one guy.
Yeah.
And it was delivered here.
He sounds tall and hot.
Yeah, well, it was delivered here. I didn't pay for it. We didn't pay for it.
You know what I'm gonna do? Look at how fucking rad I am right now. I'm gonna smoke a cigarette with no ashtray.
Cigarettes.
I'm gonna ash on your fucking bowl pizza. No, I'm gonna wait. You know what? Let's do this. Can we just get that pizza out of here, but so Penny can't get it. You know, I'll put it right here.
No, she'll get it.
And then, can you pass me that cup so I can ash in it? Because I'm smoking a fucking cigarette through this story.
That's my coffee cup, but okay.
Yeah, just wash it. All right. So I've told you guys a little bit about my story. Right. Guesses. Let's get some guesses going. Why did I call the cops on her? Do you need clues?
I'm going to guess you try to do something weird, and then she's
No.
like, you're fucking me too. And
No.
then you had to call the cops to get rid of her.
No. That sounds horrible. That's something she would have called the cops on me. Okay.
But she was threatening to call the cops on you, so then you're like,
Beat
I'm
her to
gonna
the
fucking
punch.
get one up on this girl. I'm gonna call the cops first.
No.
And I kind of actually agree with that because that's kind of reverse psychology. So it would.
And I am good at that.
You want her more because you're like, this girl's crazy.
Yeah, just make sure you talk like super close to the mic every time.
This girl's crazy, so I want to see her more.
So
And that's your type.
So
and
you
I would
thought
say that's
that
your
I would
type.
call the cops so I can be closer to her.
What I've learned from experience
I'll just go
as
with
being your friend
the quick
for 20 years.
date template. You guys go out and you get hammered, and then you come here and you get more hammered, but then it it gets to a point where it's either sick, crying, or crazy, and she didn't get sick, and she didn't cry, but she got crazy and then cried, and then you call the cops.
I feel like you have a lot of experience in this.
I have a lot of experience hanging out with you.
Yeah, no.
Well, you should probably catch your audience up on your guys' background. Like that's.
So Jose and I have lived together. I think from 2011 to 2018. So like 7 years.
Yeah.
In LA in Hollywood, West Hollywood, and then Hollywood, and then Ben actually introduced me. So here's the history with Ben. This is actually really important. I was like extremely heartbroken. I was 17, about 17, 18, and I was like didn't understand that, I could be possibly in demand to women that I wanted. So I had just been rejected from this girl. And it was horrible. It was the worst thing that I felt. Heartbreak was horrible. And then I met Ben and another friend that's not here. His name's Andy. And Jose was part of it, but you were a little bit more in the shadows at that point for me. And Ben and Andy were super into going to electro dance clubs, electro clash clubs. And I just somehow, I gravitated towards it. It like sort of hit the Venn diagram of what my life was and what your life was at the time. And it was just juicy to me. So I ended up leaning into that and going, let's do that all the time. That felt great. There's women. Oh my God, I can't believe women. We're going to 18 and over clubs and shit. Women, right? They're children at this point, right? But so Ben sort of loosened me up into being social and kind of bent my path into what I am now, because I don't think if I was part of, like, I would never be close to whatever I am now. I'd probably be way more successful and in better shape. But all right, so here's the story let's cheers, then I'll tell you the story. Happy to have you guys here.
Thank you for having us.
So I'm not going to say this girl's name, but we matched on a dating app called Tinder. Maybe you heard of it, right? And
What was it called?
it's called Tinder.
Okay.
And you have to say it like that. And so we match. We're hanging out. We have one date, and it's going really well, right? And then it ends, and she goes out of town for the weekend, right? And so now I'm kind of like, okay, I miss her. Like, I want to hang out with her. That was cool, It was like one of those first dates that you thought, for sure we're going to hang out again. So she goes out of town, and then she comes back into town, and we're like, we got to hang out right away. So we go on a second date. And then when we meet up, she's like kind of quiet. I'm like, I thought there were sparks. Like, we kept texting the whole time. She was out of town. So we take quite a bit of a walk, and then we get to the first bar. She's like, let's get a margarita. I'm like, sure. So we get a margarita, and then halfway in the margarita, she starts like being herself again, the one that I recognize. So I'm like, okay. So a little bit of alcohol. She loosens up. I get it. Maybe she's nervous. I get it. I'm a fucking piece. We right. So then I'm like, all right, so let's do more drinking, because that seems like what is going to work for her. So we go to another bar, and we're about 3-4 drinks in at this point. And then we get to one bar, and she's like, oh, I've been here before. I left my jacket here one time with my ID. And I'm like, oh, crazy. Who cares? Like, cool story. And then she's like, but then the next day I woke up, and I was like, yeah, I forgot my ID. And I came back to get it, and they gave it to me. And I was like, this story seems like it sucks. Why? Okay, great. And then so then when we leave that bar, she's like, we had already finished our drinks, and we were going to the water. We're going to Domino Park. And so we're leaving that bar. We finished our drinks. We have no drinks. And she's like, we should get some drinks so we can go to the park with drinks. And I was like, this girl thinks ahead. This is very smart. So then she goes, I go to order a drink. She's like, no, get 2. I'm like, yeah, I am. 1 for me, 1 for you. She's like, no, 2 each. Like, she's thinking ahead. I'm like, bitch, we have fucking 5 drinks by this point. So then I'm like,
who's paying?
Oh, well, I'm paying. Well, good point. Oh, no, I am paying. Yeah. So I'm like, damn, she's thinking ahead. She wants to hang out for even longer is what I'm thinking. I'm like, this is sick. And then, so I get 2 drinks each. 4 fucking drinks. We're double fisting to the water, right? So we go to the water. and we're hanging out. By the way, stop me at any point if you have any questions, okay?
Okay.
So we get to the water, and we're drinking the drinks, and
How many times have you run this same date?
hey, man, hey, no,
Because it sounds very familiar to what we took us tonight.
no,
I'm pretty sure I experienced this date tonight. If I could recall,
Yeah, we went to Domino Park.
I'm pretty sure we had drinks and then we got more drinks before we went to the water. I don't know. I kind of feel like I had
well,
a
If
similar
the
experience.
date recognizes this podcast, did you have muscles? Because
you know what's interesting? She knows I do this podcast, and I don't think that she. I can't. I don't want to spoil it, but I'm gonna tell. I'm gonna keep telling you. Okay. So what ends up happening is that I take her to the water. We're hanging out. We're drinking the drinks, and at a certain point, I'm like, I'm gonna kiss this girl. She's cute. She's water. The city is great. So I kiss her, and then
For the first time.
that was the first time. So then she's like, okay, I have to tell you something. I'm like, here we go.
It's
So-
a dick.
Yeah, no. She had no dick. So she ends up telling me. So when I left my jacket at that place with the ID, and I woke up the next day, I actually woke up in a hospital, and my hands were shackled to the bed, and I was like, this girl knows how to party. This is sick. Like I didn't think anything bad at all. I was just like, yeah, all right, we all get there, right?
So you thought about kinky.
And then I was like, okay, so, this must have been years ago. I think she was like 26, 27 or something. And so I was like, this must, how old are you? And she was like, oh, this is like a month ago. I was like, damn, she still parties. All right, cool. I don't know. Like, I'm hopeful. I'm optimistic, right? So then it gets to the point where bars have shut down. Our drinks are empty. The night is atrophying at this point. So I'm like, okay, I know it sounds crazy, but do you want to come back to my place? I know it's COVID and shit, but we just kissed. Do you want to just come back to my place? Like, no pressure. We can just, like, have a drink, keep hanging out. I want to keep talking to you. So we go back to my place, which is here. And we make some drinks. She used to be a bartender, so she's making me, like, really fancy drinks, like, from the ingredients I have, which is fucking nothing. And so
was it all granola?
It was like
That's all you have is just granola.
I have to have a lot of granola. Honestly, I bought that granola because of the whole COVID scare, where everyone's like, you got to buy things that won't expire. So that's why I have a lot of granola. So now everyone knows that.
A lot.
Yeah, it's a good amount. So we're hanging out for a while, and then it gets to the point where it's getting sloppy. Not necessarily on my end. Like, on my end, I'm definitely drunk, but I'm like, I can keep it together. Like, I can maintain a conversation similar to how I'm doing now, right? So she's at this point being like doing this shit, like swaying in her eyes, and I'm like,
That's where I'm at.
yeah, right now. And so I'm like, all right, so this isn't good. Like, obviously now we're not gonna sleep together. Like, I don't want to do that with you when you're like this. So like, just I'm like in my head already preparing for ejection, right? Or to eject her. So I go, hey, oh, sorry. So no, we're talking actually, and she asked me like a personal question, something about like my, can you favor this side, because your head keeps speaking in. So she keeps asking me certain questions about like personal life. So I start being, she asked me about my creative process on certain things, and I get really like into it. I'm like talking to her about this stuff, and then the combination of her being drunk and trying to keep it cool makes her do this. Like, she's just rolling her eyes at me and like doesn't want to hear it. I'm like, bitch, you asked me this question. What the fuck?
And that sealed the deal for you right there? That was...
No.
Maybe that's just how she really felt, and now she's hammered, so she can express
Dude. Either way.
express herself.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Either way, if that's the case, that's fine. But I want nothing to do with someone who's going to be on a second date with me that's gonna make me bring up shit that makes me vulnerable and then roll their eyes. Like, fuck that. Get the fuck out. So I just start going, hey, you don't have to do that. Like, I understand you're trying to keep it together. Like, it seems like you're pretty drunk. I'm drunk too. Why don't we call it a night? I'm gonna get you a car. And she goes, okay. But then she says okay, but then she goes and sits down on the couch, and just like looks at me like very like, I can't believe you're doing this type of thing, because I think she was calling my bluff, you know. So then I'm like, yeah. So I called you a car. It's gonna be here in about 2 minutes. And so she had her shoes off, her fucking backpack's over there, her mask is over there, like she's dismantled, right? What's up?
Sounds like a whole apartment.
Yeah, no, yeah. She had put shit around my apartment. So then I go, okay, it's getting close. The Uber's getting close. I think you should get your fucking shit and leave. And then she just kind of sits there, and so I start grabbing her shit and putting it in a pile. I go, here you go. It's time for you to go now. Let's hang out soon. I would love to hang out with you again. And she just won't move. So I kind of like, I'm like, all right, come on. Like, I try to like grab her hands, like, all right, let's go. Like, maybe she needed help. I don't know. She seemed pretty drunk. So I just was like, hey, come on. And she goes, don't fucking touch me.
Oh, no.
So then I'm like, here, now we have a fucking problem on our hands. Meaning me.
Yeah, you have a big
Yeah, I
problem.
have a big problem with my hands. This fucking girl won't leave. So then I'm like, okay, I have to let her cool off. So I wait about 20 minutes, let casual conversation keep going. I just keep finishing my drink very slowly because I'm not trying to get more drunk, but I'm not trying to make it seem like I'm ending the night by like, hey, water time. So I'm just like, okay, so 20 minutes goes by. I'm like, all right. So, by the way, so I cancel her car because in my head, now, to be honest, I have sent a mad girl home before, and I think she fucked up my Uber score by doing or saying some shit in the car.
Well, what's your Uber score now?
My Uber score, dude, it's not that good.
What?
It's like 4.3 or something like that.
Are we gonna compare Uber score?
If they still pick you up, it's good.
Yeah. Well, they do pick me up, but it's like,
with the frown.
So I tell her, okay, so why don't you call a car when you're ready? So I give her that time, and then so that time goes by, and I'm like, okay, the time has gone by. Why don't we continue this another night? So she just does the same thing, sits there, death stares me, just like. I'm like, dude, okay, this isn't this. I feel it's like 3 a.m. at this point. I'm like, what the like? I have work tomorrow, you know. So then I end up saying like, okay, well, in my head, my plan is like, I'm gonna let her sleep on the couch, and I'm gonna go to bed. So I go, okay, I tell her I'm gonna go to sleep. So I go lay down in my bed, and I'm just on my phone. You know, I'm fully clothed. I'm just kind of like, maybe she'll get the fucking point.
You didn't shut the door or lock the door behind you.
Okay.
Was all the granola missing when you woke up?
No, she was not a granola thief.
That would have been amazing.
No, so what's up? So then I'm laying down, and then she just starts texting me from my living room. Why are you being like this? Why are you really going to bed? Are you serious? I'm like, hey, what are you talking about? Just come in. Like, what do you mean? And then she just, so I come out because she's being fucking weird. I'm like, that's so weird to text me from my living room. So I come out and I'm like, hey, listen, it's late. You can sleep on my couch if you want to. Whatever you want to do. Either way, I have to go to sleep now. It's getting late. The night's over. What do you want? So then I turn off all the lights. Now it's dark in my apartment. And then I go into my room and I close the door. I get naked. Oh, not naked, but I get down to my underwear and I lay in my bed. I'm going to sleep. I figured she'll fall asleep on the couch, wake up, feel remorse, leave, right? All right, so as I'm laying in bed, I sort of start like drifting off, and then she busts in my room and she sits on my bed next to me, and I'm like, and she's like,
with a knife?
Oh, check this out. She says, I could kill you in your sleep if I want to.
Jesus.
I'm not fucking kidding. A girl that I've hung out, second time I hung out with her, sits on my bed and goes, I could kill you in your sleep if I want to.
So we turned on?
And then we fucked him. She's actually back. She's on the way right now. She's gonna come over.
Oh.
No. So I go. Okay. Well, time for you to get the fuck out now. Now I'm gonna do whatever I can to get you the fuck out because I've been very nice. So I actually stand up. I'm in my underwear, and I'm like, okay. So here's your options. One, I'm gonna ask nicely again. You can just leave, or I can call the cops, which none of us want that, or I can make it pretty uncomfortable and I can start yelling at you. I told her what I was gonna do. I can start yelling at you until you leave. Right?
And you have a balcony.
What else am I supposed to do?
Well,
Love where your head's at.
I don't know, man. You're in a corner because it doesn't matter what you do. If the cops come, automatically you're perceived as the aggressor.
I know. Yeah.
No matter what. Even verbal yelling violence of like, oh, domestic abuse happening right here.
Yeah, exactly.
Automatically.
You're pinned. She pinned you in the corner.
Yeah.
No, exactly. So that's why I was like, okay, I tried to grab her hands before and be like, hey, let me help you up. Didn't want me to touch her. I tried to grab her shit. She didn't want me to grab her shit. I tried to say, hey, you can leave on your own right now. I tried to get her a car. I tried to do all these things. So my only option now, without any physical contact, is to go to yell at her. What else do I have? She threatened to kill me in my sleep. All right, I don't feel safe. Okay, so I go, okay, so here's what's gonna happen. So I give her those three options, and she just does the death stare again, like she doesn't want to lose this. So I go, okay,
Your catch.
yeah. What if she just said that and it made me go, okay, come to bed. So she does this death stare again, and I just go, okay, and I get fucking okay. Well, how do you do Scarface? I don't know. I can't do it. But you know what I mean? Like I get like fucking. I loke up, dude. Yeah. I get Mexican.
Okay.
Because I'm half Mexican, by the way. Everyone fucking chill out.
Yeah.
I'm half Mexican, so I brought it out.
I can't relate.
So I said, get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out of my place. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here.
Oh my god.
You know? I didn't get close to her, but I threatened. I didn't threaten her, but I got like intimidating, right? Get the fuck out of here, right? What else could I do? So she gets her shit and she leaves. But what happens when she opens the door is fucking Penny runs out, my dog. Runs downstairs, all the way downstairs. Everyone else has dogs in the building, so if someone else brought their dog out and those dogs out in a scrap, so I run out and I'm chasing her downstairs, Penny, and then I'm in my underwear, and then I finally get Penny, and so then when I'm going back upstairs, this girl is at the bottom floor, sitting putting her shoes on, which happens to be where my spare key is. Oh wait. No, hold on. I jumped a detail.
Yeah, you logged yourself out.
Yeah. Fuck. Hold on.
Which is not. This is not an uncommon thing. John always locks himself out of his apartment.
Really?
Yeah, but that's why I have spare keys.
Like 10 spare keys, not one.
Yeah.
Like 10 spare keys because he locks himself out. Has to get that one. And then forgets to put it back, so
Yeah.
you gotta have them everywhere.
Exactly. I have at least 3 or 4 spare keys.
So if you want to know where his spare keys
No, hey,
are,
man. Hey.
we're not doing that. Okay.
If you
So-
see a suspicious-looking rock, it's not.
Pick it up and turn it around.
It's not a real rock.
So hold on. I'll pretend I didn't spoil that right now. So she sees me get Penny, and I go back upstairs, and some neighbor comes out, and they're like, "Hey, can you keep it down?" I'm like, shut the fuck up. So I keep going up, and I go back to my back to my door, and then I go to open the door, and it's fucking locked because it automatically locks. So I'm like, fuck. So I have Penny, and I'm in my underwear, and I go all the way back downstairs, and then that's where she's sitting on the stairs in the first floor, and she sees me grab my spare key. I'm like, she's gonna know where this shit is now if she ever wants to come back and kill me. So I grab it, and I go all the way back upstairs, and then I go inside. I'm like, safe. Fine, good. And then she starts calling me. Calling. I'm not joking. Probably 50 calls. But to a certain point, it was like 20 calls. And then I was like, let me just answer. What do you want? And so I answer, and she's like, you're being mean. And so I'm like, dude, this girl's fucking insane. So I go, hey, listen, you... And I can hear her in a hallway. She hasn't left yet. She's still in the building. So I go, hey, you have to leave where I live. I don't feel safe with you here. I don't want you here. I'm going to call the cops on you if you are here in 10 minutes or something like that, you know? So, you know, instead of leaving or waiting 10 minutes or whatever, she just keeps calling me and calling me and calling me again. And then I answer at one point and I go, hey, okay, so you haven't left. I can hear your voice in the fucking hallway. And my balcony can see when someone's leaving. So I'm out there looking and making sure, you know. So she is in the hallway and I say, hey, I'm going to call the cops now. Now it's time to the cops. I tried everything else. I'm calling the cops. So I call the cops.
She sounds like a keeper, though.
Yeah, I mean,
Honestly, that's like, I mean,
it's someone you would date.
80% my vibe.
No, for
yeah.
sure.
Probably for
For
sure.
sure.
If she dialed it down like 10%, I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna hang on to this girl.
It's for sure your vibe. So I ended up, I call the cops, right? And then I say, hey, there's this fucking girl. She won't leave my place. We've been on 2 dates. I've been asking her to leave for like an hour or so, and she just is still in my building. She's trespassing at this point. I don't want her here. Can I get a little help, right? And so they
Did they take your call seriously?
no, yeah.
It's probably like an
Because I would just fucking laugh and be like, hey, dude, chill the fuck out.
If you were a cop, you would just tell me to chill the fuck
Yeah.
out.
Listen, just put some prints on, and it'll be fine. She'll come back up. You guys will be fine.
You would think something simple, you know, tame the beast with some prints.
Yes.
So I end up call the cops. I tell them everything that's going on, and then I was on the phone with the cops for 4 minutes. I screenshot it and I sent it to her. Look, 911, 4 minutes, go. Time for you to get the break out, bitch. Right. So then I go back to the balcony. I'm looking out, and then I see her finally come out, and she goes, "Why are you doing this?" And I'm like, "You just aren't. Your brain stopped recording like a while ago. That's what's happening. Your brain shut off like a while ago, and I have to continue the narrative without you ever knowing what's happening. I didn't want to stay out there because I figured she would just keep looking at me or something, and I also didn't want to get arrested. So,
Will that happen? Will that happen if you stayed out there?
I think she would get something would happen. Yes.
Oh shit.
I mean, this girl already talked about being in the hospital with shackles, you know. So I'm sure. What if the cops like approached her and just said sit on the curb, and she got crazy, and you know attacked a cop? Like I don't know. So I don't want that to happen to her. You know, she's not white, so she's like, I don't even know what she's like Mexican-ish or something, and you know
That makes
she's
sense.
not white.
I don't know.
That makes sense.
But so she's I'm trying to get her the fuck to go, and then I go, okay, I figure if I go inside and I turn off all the lights, you know, it's like a fucking ostrich, like turn off all the lights and it'll be okay, you know what I mean? So I turn off all the lights, I pretend that I'm like going to sleep, and then the cops come, I hear them buzz the door and they come up.
Shit.
And now the cops are in my place.
To your apartment?
Yeah. The cops are in my place, and so I'm talking to them like, hey, and they're like, did you guys do any drugs? I'm like, no. I mean, I didn't do drugs. And they're like, did she go to the bathroom for a long time? And I'm like, actually, now that I think of it, she did. But I just thought she was taking like a shit or something. So she very possibly went to the bathroom and like did some pills or something, you know what I mean?
I'm pretty sure they're questioning you to make sure that you're not the predator.
Yeah, you're not the
They don't.
instigator of,
Yeah,
like-
Why would I be the predator and call the cops on myself?
Because you're not the predator.
Because exactly, that's
Yeah,
like the great plan.
Exactly. it's like you're not the
That's-
predator, so obviously
Yeah.
it doesn't relate to you. But I feel like
Feel free to grab the microphone.
like
so you can-
maybe that is a pattern out here in New York where
I mean, such a stretch. I feel like, but I get it. But no, I mean, for me it just became, you know, I just wanted this fucking individual outside of my place, and she wouldn't do it. So I'm talking to them, and they're like, okay, so, and then she fucking calls me, and I'm like, she's calling me again, and then so I'm like, give it to the cop. I'm like, can you answer it? So the cop answers it, and she's like, It's a female cop.
Hey, this is John Ryan's dad. Can you
Yeah.
can you please leave my son alone?
So the cop is like, hey, you got to leave this gentleman alone. He doesn't want anything to do with you. He's told you many times, like, just go. And I hear her on the phone go, he's just being mean. And I'm like, dude, this girl's fucking crazy. So I ended up, I said, thanks, cops. See you later. Sorry about the Black Lives Matter thing, that you guys are in this stuff. Like.
Why are you sorry about that?
Well, I'm not sorry. I didn't do anything. But I'm saying, like, sorry that I know you're going through a lot of shit is what I meant, Okay. And so they leave, and that's I woke up. I tried to block her, but calls kept coming through till 5 a.m. So it kept me up. Fuck. And I didn't want to turn my phone off because I have my alarm on my phone. So I was like, okay. So I ended up calling into work for like, the first half of the day or something. But dude, so that's the story of this woman trying to, I don't know what she was trying to do, but that's the story of how I called the cops on a second date during COVID.
Okay. Took us how long of a time that was, like, probably 2-3 months that he kind of held that story from us.
Well, I was waiting for this moment, Thank you guys for checking out this week's episode of Face to Face. I'm sorry it wasn't what it normally is, but this just felt the best to do for this week. Given that, if I'm going to be honest, you get a little burnt out in the podcast world, and it's been told to me from many people, you got to take a break sometimes. This is my version of taking a break, just telling my friends some stories, or a story, and just having a quick conversation. I'll get back to actually talented people next week, but
thank you.
No, I'm saying you're not talented. I will get back to talented people next week. No, I'm just kidding. These are incredibly talented people, incredibly talented designers, and but I'm gonna get back to regular scheduled FaceTime mannequin programming is what I mean. I'm
gonna kill myself.
Well, that's okay. Just don't do it here. Just wait till you go back home.
And call you 20 times.
Make sure and go to the YouTube channel. This is the best way to experience this. Is the YouTube channel, Face to FaceTime, Instagram at Face to FaceTime, and my name is John Ryan. Again, thank you, Jose, Ben, appreciate it. Do you want to say your Instagram?
Yeah, I'm Jose.
EYE of Jose.
And just Benstagram _.
And that's it. Thanks, guys. Have a great weekday, life. And, don't date anyone that's been to the hospital because of alcohol.
John Ryan is dead.
All right. Have a good bye.